Hello everyone. Let's say you need a vacuum pump or possibly even a compressor, but you don't have one, but you have an old compressor out of, say, an air conditioner, like a window unit, or even a refrigerator would work. I have one here out of a window unit, and it's a 110 unit here, and I am needing it for a vacuum pump so I can work on a automotive AC system where I can vacuum it out for recharging the system. So let's get into the wiring of one of these first. You'll have a capacitor. Now this capacitor you see has 3 connections on it. This is what they call a dual run capacitor. I think is the original one to this, but any motor start capacitor will work. So on this unit here, I have 3 wires here. I have a red, a black, and a white. Trying to think, let's see, the black wire should be your common, and then your red wire also goes to your plug. So the black wire leads to my plug-in that I have. Your red wire out of the compressor will also go to the other side of the plug-in, but you will also have a wire going to the common side of your capacitor. This one here has a small C marked on it for the common. And then the white wire, or some compressors I think may even have this as a blue wire. It probably will vary between compressor to compressor. And then that goes to the other side of your capacitor. Then all you do is you plug it in and it will run. As for connecting things to it, what you need to do is first plug it in. You have a pressure side on this one here, which is the side the air will come out of. Just stick your finger over the end and you will know. And it has a vacuum side. So what I'm worried about is the vacuum side for mine. And I got lucky. This size of tubing I was actually able to thread to an 1/8 inch MPT pipe thread, and I was able to thread on a little 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, I'll call it a reducer. It's a brass, and then after I did that, I cleaned it up real good, put a little bit of your normal plumbing solder paste onto it, smeared a little bit onto it, and used my torch and some solder, and I heated the fitting and soldered around the fitting here, even though it is threaded on. That way I have an absolute airtight seal. And doing that way I can connect up the AC system. I'll have to get a fitting for the gauges, the AC gauges. You don't have to do that if you want to run it as a compressor. Say you need a small air compressor or something for anything. I could just put a piece of hose on it with a hose clamp, run it to your tank or whatever. I don't have a clue what kind of pressure one of these will put out. I think it will be very high. So if you use this as a compressor, you may want to think about like a pressure switch or something if you're not going to absolutely keep an eye on. So that's about it for getting one to run. All this here tubing here, I left that on it because I'm not too sure what this guy here is. I don't know if it's a filter or what it is, but I thought I'm just going to leave it on there for good measure. And it had this little tube here off to the side of it also. I guess that's when they charge the AC unit with the Freon in it. Is what that tube's for. And I just left it there. I thought, well, hey, that's a good little tube for hooking up a vacuum gauge or something to. So now, let's do an experiment with it. I have a little tank. It's actually a modified fire extinguisher tank. And I'm going to see how fast it pulls a vacuum. I have a vacuum gauge here that I will pull off of this and hook it up to the tank. We get it all hooked up, hose hooked up to it. Let's see what happens. All right, it's all plumbed up right now. What I have here, I have a fire extinguisher tank that I've modified up for an air tank. That's a whole different story. I was going to use it for a different project, actually for a small air tank. But right now, let's do it for experimenting. I have a vacuum gauge. I have just some random fittings I had laying around to hook it all up, and I'm not too sure how airtight it is, but let's see how fast it will pull a vacuum. So I'm gonna plug it in here, watch the gauge, see what happens. All right, a little noisy. The gauge is starting to move. So far so good, pulling a vacuum. Move it down here so you can see the gauge. There we go. Yeah, it's pulling a vacuum. Probably take a little bit to put that tank there. That's a pretty big fire extinguisher. It's nicely pulling a vacuum so far. Like about 10 inches of vacuum. There's 15. It's actually moving pretty quick. Neat thing I've noticed about these compressors is if you put your finger over the pressure side, it takes a second to build up pressure. I mean, right now we're pulling out of a vacuum. There's not a whole lot of air. I can get the glare off the gauge there. Almost to 25. It probably has some air leaks. With experimenting I've already done, one thing nice about these is they have a check valve in them for if you're using it for a vacuum pump like this. That way when you shut it off, it does not lose its vacuum. It will hold it. Well, we're up there about, I'm gonna say 26 inches of vacuum. Very slowly climbing to about 27. And that was fairly quick. Only took a moment. So yeah, I am very happy with that. There we go. Let's turn it off. Let's see how much vacuum bleed down we have. There we go. It's slowly leaking down. I probably have somewhere in it I've got a very small air leak. Anyways, if you need a vacuum pump or even an air compressor, these things will put out quite a bit of air, and I have no clue how much pressure. Probably way more than what you would possibly need. I'd be very willing to bet it's probably in the hundreds. If there's somebody that knows exactly what kind of pressure one of these are capable of putting out, put it down in the comments and let me know. I'm very curious to know. Very easy little project to do. And something simple. I mean, if you have a junk window unit or a refrigerator laying around and it's got a good compressor in it, there you go. Vacuum pump or compressor in one. All right, well, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I need to get back making videos. I know I'm very behind. I've been very busy. New job, stuff like that. So I will get back to it. All right, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, found this useful. Like, subscribe, usual stuff, whatever. And until next time, get out there and just go make it.